Episode 58.
58. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So
Wow, it's pretty good, huh?
yeah, yeah, and it's cold.
Oh, is it ever? It is so cold you would not believe. Right now, my phone says 13 degrees here on the eastern part of Pennsylvania. I mean, it's.
I mean, even Florida's getting cold weather.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, but to them, it's 32 is cold. Now
Yeah.
it's
I talked to my sister down there. She said the birds, they have jackets on.
yeah, yeah, really.
They're flying around saying, shit, it's cold.
Is it cold? Got a whole bunch of squirrels. Ugh.
Yeah, you need a jacket, that's for sure. Speaking of jackets,
Yeah.
our winner of Sabrina of our jacket was nice.
Yeah, of our
She looks
Christmas,
good in it.
our Christmas getaway, or Christmas giveaway. Yeah, this is her here. This is Sabrina.
Yep.
And she's a huge, huge supporter of the channel. Really appreciate all you do. And she posts a lot of our stuff on her pages. And, gives us a little boost there. So
Right.
very much appreciated. Now, she is also
A big soprano or a mob boss.
big, mob movie, Sopranos type thing. And in fact, I ran into her. You and I both did
In Atlantic City?
in Atlantic City. And
MobCon.
MobCon. And she was there.
She was there. How about that?
So, and I didn't
Who'd ever think?
I didn't put two and two together until I found out who it was. Who
Right.
it was. So,
Right.
but she got the jacket anyway. She's an admin of 4 different Facebook pages. The Sopranos Commission, The Sopranos, All Due Respect, Mob Fellows, Gangster Movie Fans, and a Breaking Bad one called The Ones Who Knock. And I'll put all the links into the comments for all those Facebook pages that she's an admin of, and she's very popular. So, thanks
What
again.
exactly is an admin? What is that?
She runs a Facebook page.
Oh, I see.
Like I have the one for the dog park,
Okay.
and I run it.
Yeah. Right.
Who posts, who doesn't post, if it's spam, this and that. And
Right.
I let people join. They ask to join, I get them in, that kind of stuff. I also have one for 2024 plus Chevy Traverse
Oh,
Facebook. I got 2,000 people on that one.
no kidding.
So yeah, a couple of admins that I run
How about that?
Facebook pages. So
There are,
what the-
there are people that have the same truck.
yeah, anybody has a
Right.
24 new style and older, and everybody puts bad and good and good and bad and
Right.
hints and tips and all kinds of stuff. So,
Hmm.
so we got a lot to talk about again.
Yep.
Escalating tensions and protests in Minnesota continue, and Trump continues to send ICE agents down there.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, come on. And then we have what we got.
he's not going to give up. I mean, they're not going to intimidate him.
I think the more they push, the more he pushes.
Oh yeah. I mean, here it is right here. Just now, breaking: Minnesota governor extends olive branch to Trump after immigration dispute.
Good.
So
Good. So there's a lot of tensions there. We got the president's desire to acquire Greenland.
yeah.
Give me that. I don't think we're gonna get a good deal on that like we did Alaska. What was it, $58 to buy Alaska at the
It
time?
was Alaska. I got it right here. It was 7.2 million.
That's not bad.
No, it's not.
Think about
bad.
that.
Think
Elon
about
Musk
that.
could buy it.
I know.
Could buy a whole state.
Yep.
Now in today's terms. And then we got the segment, yesterday's news. We're going to talk about the pushback on AI infrastructure. And I'll tell you why when we get there.
Yeah.
So, these protests continue and continue and continue. Now, you just showed me a video of a guy, an ICE agent that pulled up.
ICE agent pulls up. He's got his pickup truck. Pulls up, lowers his window, and talks to this lady or protesters that were
Standing
there.
in the street again.
That were standing in the street, and they were beeping their horns,
Mm-hmm.
honking their cars, and things like that to allow to access to tell the guy that they were after in the house to run. The guy turned out to be a child molester,
Wow.
a known child molester, had a record and everything. And he rolls down the window and he says to the protesters, "You're stopping us from getting a child molester. What are you doing?
Wow.
Why would you do that? I don't get it." And he's a young guy, young ICE agent.
Okay.
He says, "I don't get it. What you're doing? Why would you do that?" And they kind of just flipped him off, just didn't care. And I mean, that's what's going on. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, if the people would just listen to that, you wouldn't have all this turmoil that's going on. I understand it looks bad. It does. I understand because if you watch the mainstream media, ABC, CBS, NBC, you watch those outlets,
Right.
and they have you thinking that the ICE agents are the bad guys. They're just doing their job. They're just arresting criminals that shouldn't be here. Number one, and number two, they got a record of some kind.
Right.
And
Right.
it's.
They're
I
not,
don't
I'm
get
not
it.
worried about going to Target and shopping. You know, I mean,
It's so ridiculous. It is
they're
so
afraid to
ridiculous.
leave their house and all.
Like I think I said to you last, if you're driving and there's a cop car behind you with the lights on, you're going to move over and let him go by.
Yeah.
You're not going to sit there and stop the car and I'm going to stop him from going wherever he's going.
Right.
I mean,
Right. Or pull over. He's just pulling you over.
Right. You just do it.
And just hand them your license.
Yeah.
That's all you got to
That's
do.
all you got to do. That's it.
It's not that
License and
hard.
registration. It's not hard. You
Yeah.
can even have them on your phone.
Yeah. I know.
I mean, it's
they
just
do. They just show. Yeah.
yeah.
So there's a lot of escalation going on, and I have clips of a protest.
The giraffe guy or whatever.
This guy dressed as a giraffe, and he's harassing these guys. And it's so funny to see a giraffe get arrested. Mike, put that up, will you please? This is the video of a giraffe getting arrested.
Nazis every day! Nazis every day! Nazis every day! Nazis every day! Ice! Ice! Trump! Trump! Remember, this is a peaceful protest. We are not engaged with them. They're just a bunch of Nazis, so do not fall into their trap.
Okay, you all know the song Hot to Go by Chapel Roan?
Place bombs inside the Capitol, and Donald Trump pardoned every single one of them.
You're arresting the dancing giraffe. Is that the right side of history?
The lion is in the middle of the street!
You're proud of what you're
It's in the middle of the street!
Which side
The lion is in the middle! Where's the line? The line's in the middle of the fucking street! This is illegal! That's illegal detention! That's illegal!
I'm proud
You
of
are breaking the law!
I'm proud of all. Are you fucking proud?
You know, and I saw another video. I don't have it. This guy hauls off and punches this guy right in the face.
Punches an ICE agent.
Yeah, an ICE
and
agent right
Right.
in the face. What they're supposed to stay there, and God bless them for the the patience that they have.
Oh, I know. Well, I mean,
Now, a federal judge, just issued an injunction on January 16, 17, restricting ICE agents from using crowd control measures like pepper spray.
against peace, and I love how they put that against peaceful protest.
And there's the loophole, right there. You got a guy punching in the face. You could spray him with.
Right. And they talk about hate, that Trump hates. These guys are punching the ICE people in the face. They're doing all sorts of things, throwing bricks at them, throwing whatever at them.
Yep.
And
they got to stand there and take it and do nothing.
right. And it all stems back from George Floyd and all that stuff because I'm watching football this weekend and all these freaking helmets on their head. Give love, give this on the back of the head. Come on, what are you talking about?
I know.
Choose love and all this stuff. I mean,
Choose love.
that's what it says on the helmets and everything.
Yeah. My God. That's good. Now that's the loophole, right? On peaceful protesters. So if they're not peaceful, spray them. Right. Now here's the sad part. There are a lot of people, mothers, white, whatever they are, bringing her young kids to these protests.
Why would they do that?
Well, there was a video of a kid that got hit with pepper spray, and it's a young kid.
Right away, they're wrong.
Oh yeah.
Right away. Oh, it's all
Oh, look,
Trump's
they
fault.
sprayed the child. You know.
Unbelievable.
But the mother brought him there. There were mothers at some of these protests that had infants with them,
Right.
and they're doing that so that they think that ICE is not going to throw them to the ground because they got a kid in their arms.
Right.
They're using a kid as a defense.
Yeah.
This is so out of control.
It
It's
is
ridiculous.
out of control. And you know, I was talking to somebody today who is completely oblivious of what's going on. And all she said to me was, I think it's terrible what ICE is doing, dragging people and putting them in jail, Americans, citizens here. I said,
American
no, no, no. I
citizens,
said,
yeah.
what news you're watching? So then she goes, I don't watch any news. I don't watch any of it because I don't trust it. Well, then why are you saying that?
Right.
Well, just the little clips that I see. They're taking people. I said, no, let me explain something. If they're going up to a house and the bad person that they're running after is in that house and he's with 5 other people, they have to arrest them too. But then when they get him down to the precinct or wherever they're bringing him to, they have the one bad guy that they want. Plus, they question the other 4. And if they show that there's no record on them and they're okay, they let him go.
Right.
It's as simple as that.
Because one arrest could lead to another one, depending if they find
Correct.
out that one person out of the 4 might have a record.
Right.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
No. And so, yeah. So depending, this is what I was talking about earlier. The 1,500 active duty troops, they're on alert.
Do you think he'll send them?
I don't know.
Is that Trump's call or is that Tom Holman's call? I wonder
That
who.
would have to be Trump because
Trump.
Holman only runs ICE, as far as I know.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah.
Now last week.
Well, then, if that's the case, it would be Pete Hegseth, right?
Oh, that could be. Yes. Yeah, more than likely. Well, Trump would have to say, "Pete,
Trump would have to do it.
send him in because it's really out of control, whatever
Right.
it might be, you know.
Yeah.
But last week I mentioned that, you know, we all wondered why they're trying to keep these people in. And I made a joke, kind of a joke, saying that,
I know what you're going to say.
saying that, well, everybody that's here is a vote
That's
for
right.
the Dems.
It is.
You know, all these nuts.
Yeah.
They're all crazy. I mean, everybody's crazy on both sides, but they're more crazy. Here's a picture. Somebody made this meme. This is Elon Musk. It says, every illegal deported is one less vote and money laundering opportunity for the Dems. That's what it's all about. That's why they hate ICE.
That's why they hate ICE.
And I was like half joking around. Then I came across this meme. It was pretty funny. I thought that was right up our alley.
Yep.
So there's a picture of that.
Yep.
Now, some of the other presidents here, just to give you some numbers, Bill, some numbers of some of these other presidents that deported these people.
Right.
We got Clinton, did 12.5 million.
George Bush, 10.3 million.
And no protest, right?
And no protest from Clinton and no protest from Bush.
5.3 million on
Obama. With no protest.
None.
2 million from Trump so far and 500 protests.
Yeah. I'm sure it's a lot more than that.
Do you have that clip or that picture of Tom Holman getting the Medal of Honor or Medal Award,
Oh, yeah. I
a
put it up.
lifetime
Yeah,
award
yeah.
by Obama?
Mike, right here.
Yeah.
Put it up. Yep, there it is.
There it is. I mean,
Putting it right around his neck.
yeah, putting it right around his neck. Nobody said
What
anything
a
then.
great job.
Oh, great job. You're doing a great job with the border and everything.
Yep. I also want to show a clip. Mike, the CNN clip. This is from 2016, I think it was. CNN actually riding along with ICE agents.
Right.
And watch how okay it was then.
Yes, it was okay.
Keep an eye. Look, watch this one real quick.
Under the cloak of darkness in Chicago,
Tack one, guys.
an immigration and customs enforcement team gears up for another long day, pursuing undocumented immigrants who have been convicted of crimes in the U.S. ICE agents mistakenly arrest the target's brother.
In the process of talking to him in the vehicle, he then said, oh, no, I'm actually so-and-so. Who you're looking for is over here, this other address. He led us to that address, and we were able to actually arrest the individual.
Do you have evidence, right, that he's using a fake identity, or?
That is correct. We believe he's been using a U.S. citizen's identity to live and work. He has an Illinois driver's license. Third target, he has an unauthorized use of a weapon, which was a firearm. He has a couple DUIs, He is a criminal. He has extensive criminal history, and by taking him out of the community, it's making the community safer. And that's ICE's purpose, is to focus on criminals and community safety by taking these recidivist criminals out of our communities.
Last week I read off some names. I even made a short video of it.
Wait a minute. I can't believe that clip. I can't believe
I know.
CNN is doing that. They did that back then.
It was fine.
And now all of a sudden, why is this like? Why do we have such a divide? I just don't get it.
I don't either.
I mean, they hate Trump that much.
Yes.
They rather have criminals here. They
Yeah.
rather have chaos and I mean, I know they're saying Trump causes the chaos, and he does. He's a provocateur, but he's trying to clean it up. I got a good book if everybody wants to read it. It's called The United States of Trump, and it'll explain exactly why Trump feels the way he does about the United States and the way it should be run. And you should really look at it. It's from Bill O'Reilly. It's called The United States of Trump, and it goes way back to with his real estate dealings in New York and everything, and how he perceives the country and the way it should be run. And it's pretty enlightening.
Well, yeah. But, sometimes it's his way or no way. And is it always right? I don't know. I mean,
Right. He's
it's tough.
definitely probably the most controversial politician that we've ever had in our lifetime. I don't care what you say.
Well, people make it worse than it is. I mean, because he's in. They don't like him. They hate him and this and that. And then no matter what he does, it's wrong. Right. And they don't want him to succeed. The bottom line is they don't want him to succeed, no matter what.
Right.
It could be great. It could be whatever.
Yep.
Doesn't matter. In the meantime, you got these protesters getting away with murder. Now, recently, they go into a church.
Did you see that with Don Lemon? You have that clip with Don Lemon?
Yeah, I got a.
He's such a hack. First of all, he got let go at CNN.
Yeah.
Because he did something wrong with somebody. I don't want to get into that, but he's such a hack. He thinks he's still some kind of relevant person in the news. He's not.
Yeah, well, he's trying, but it didn't work. These guys broke into a church, and there is a law called the face law. I didn't know this. The face law it makes it against the law to block parishioners, whether you're Christian or Jewish or Muslim, whatever you are. You block the entrance to their worship house, that's illegal. And to come in there to protest is illegal.
Sure.
And Trump said it today on social media, said, we need to arrest everybody and get them out of the country or put them in prison. Because they disrupted this church because they thought one of the pastors there used to be an ICE agent. Or one of them still is an ICE agent. Maybe it's his part-time job, I don't know. But they disrupted this church. And then I got the clip of Don Lemon saying, see what happens when we do this and when we do that. So watch this clip.
Yeah.
Renee good! Renee good! Renee good! Justice for Renee good! Justice for Renee good! Hands up! Hands up! Don't shoot!
What's going to happen here? When you violate people's due process, when you pull people off the street, you start dragging them and hurting them and not abiding by the Constitution, when you start doing all of that, people get upset.
It's shameful. It's shameful to interrupt a public gathering of Christians in worship. So,
but there were folks who will say,
I have to take care of my flock.
Okay, but listen, we live in there's a Constitution and the First Amendment to freedom of speech and freedom to assemble and protest.
Yeah. We're here to worship. We're here to worship Jesus because that's the hope of these cities. That's the hope of the world is Jesus.
Now, that clip.
Yeah.
Did you see the pastor getting upset, screaming and yelling back at him or anything? He was calm,
right,
saying that I have to do my sermon and everything.
Yeah.
He didn't get upset, but he's the bad guy.
I know.
Not Don Lemon, not the protesters in there, and it's.
Yeah, he's trying to set an example and be calm, and and now it's almost like you got to carry a gun in church because you never know what's going to happen. This thing could escalate. There was a guy that went into the church. He headed up, and he made a little TikTok video, and he's screaming how this is ridiculous and how he's up against everything, and this is wow. And you get scared. These people scare the shit out of you.
Yeah.
So what do? You got in my wife's church. They're older. It's an older parish. Half of them would get a heart attack. But that's ridiculous to go into a church now. I mean, come on. They're way out of line. I don't care what anybody says, and I don't give a shit what side of the fence you're on. That's absolutely unheard of. It's ridiculous.
Well, it's Don Lemon. He's a
Yeah, Lemon. This is what happens. Yeah, right. Now, last week I mentioned, and Mike, put up the picture of all those victims.
Oh, this is horrible. I know you mentioned it last week.
I read all the names last week. I don't need to read the names again. I just want you to look at these pictures of these girls. It's so sad. And not.
And you notice they're all women.
They're
all
girls,
women. I mean.
One was 11 years old. One
11
was
years old.
20. One was 15. And, you know.
And where's the outrage for that?
Right.
There's no outrage.
Right.
None.
There's no protests. There's nothing like that. George Floyd, on the other hand, protests, burned down the city, the whole thing.
That was another.
You know, I don't want to get into that, but look at these victims, these beautiful girls,
Yep.
and what a waste.
Yep.
So this continues. It's going to continue. Hopefully, it doesn't get any worse than it is. But you know, keep your eye out. Be safe. You know, bottom line is, if you're confronted by these protesters and they're trying to block your car, I know if you live in Florida, they tell you just step on the gas. Because you got to get out of harm's way. If you fear for your life, just go.
Yeah.
If there's somebody in front of your car, you know what? I'm not condoning anybody to hurt anybody.
I saw a video up in Minnesota how a guy got so upset because he was being blocked. He had to get to work. He started screaming, got out of the car and started screaming at all. I got to get to work.
Yeah.
Leave, move. Just let me through.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And
it's illegal to block traffic.
Yep.
You can't be doing it on a street like that. So, you know, this world is completely upside down, as we know. And I think it is because of Trump. Because if you look at what we talked about just now, all the presidents that got rid of all these other illegal criminals, there were no protests. We accepted it on our side of the fence, right? Well, great. Obama, great. You know, he made the speech. Clinton made the speech. Everybody made the speeches.
Right. Yep.
Okay, do it. That was great. Now he's doing it, not great.
Right.
So that's the problem. There's where your problem lies, right there. Anyway, all right. So the other crazy thing going on. You're trying to buy a piece of ice. Not ice agents. A giant piece of ice.
Giant piece of ice. Big piece of ice. I think they said it's 2 or 3 times the size of Texas.
Yeah. Greenland.
I wonder why they call it Greenland.
Yeah, it's not very green. It's white.
White.
It's ice. Ice and snow.
Can't call it Iceland because it's already ice.
It's already there, yeah. So I guess maybe underneath there's green something.
Yeah.
Maybe there's pieces of it that's green. I don't know.
You believe that the population of that place is 57,000 and Bethlehem over here is 102,000, just the town of Bethlehem. I mean,
yeah. You can go through the town of Bethlehem in 3 miles. There's a whole continent, right?
God.
Well, it's too damn cold. I don't even want to go out. Can you imagine?
They say there's parts of it that hasn't even been explored or even looked at.
Yeah.
It's just desolate ice. That's all it is snow and ice.
Yeah. I found out something pretty cool. Not to get off this subject, but maybe it'd be cool because we could find more meteorites. But because layers of ice come up, you know, through the years, they come up. Meteorites that came down to Earth years and years and years ago surface. And when they're looking for them, they could see these black dots way in the distance. And they're little meteorites that come up through the ice. Yeah, it's easier to find. Do it in Iceland, too, and it's out north and south poles where it's frozen solid.
How do you know all this stuff? What are you?
I don't know. I'm learning.
What are you, Jacques Cousteau?
But they are easier to find, and that's how a lot of these hunters for meteorites go to when they could see. Right. You could see way out when there's a big black blob, and they go there. It's a meteorite from years ago. Anyway,
remember the Odd Couple?
I know a little bit of everything.
Let's make a deal. Take the shrimp. Take the shrimp.
Yeah.
Who are you, Jacques Cousteau?
Squid. Yeah, take the squid.
Yeah, the squid.
Jacques Cousteau. So Greenland. Now, the one thing I'm going to disagree with, and you can battle me on this, I think it's absolutely ridiculous that he's threatening tariffs on some of our partners here, Denmark, Germany, France, and what really got me is the UK, because he made a nice deal with them, got rid of the tariffs were equal and blah, 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 and they made a great deal, and now he's blowing it and saying, well, we're going to hit you with 10% tariff or 25% tariff if you don't agree with me, big baby.
You're turning Democrat.
He's big baby. He's a baby.
Listen, he's a provocateur. How many times am I going to tell you that?
Well, he's provocatoring me.
Takes those things, he throws a grenade in, blows it up, and he wants to see when the dust settles what's he got. He's like that. I'm telling you, this tariff thing.
Well, what do you
It's
think?
not going to last long. It's not. I'm telling you. I don't think it's going to last long.
Maybe he won't even do it, but
And this other thing about you think he's going to send troops in, he's not going to do that.
That would-
That would be the worst thing in his administration. You might as well just pack it up and leave because
I agree.
I keep hitting the microphone here.
No, I agree. If he goes in militarily, forget it. That's it. He's done.
Oh, he's done. I don't even think that's even on the table. Even though people are asking him, "Oh, wait, watch, and see," or something like that, he says. I think it's just all talk. Myself, I think it's just his way. The rest of the world's playing checkers. He's playing chess, and he's going to figure things out. Just same thing with the Iran thing that we talked about last time. Something's going to happen there too because
No, we're not the only ones that have protests because they have some in Nuuk
is the capital.
capital protesting there. They don't want the U.S. to take it over.
No, I don't blame them. I mean, I understand what they're probably going through, but they probably will be better off. They'll probably have better health care. They'll probably now. I don't know if it's going to be. It's not going to be like the 51st state.
No. It's going to be a
Right. I mean, here, just to give you an idea, successful purchases that we've done in the past. Okay, Louisiana Purchase, 1803. The U.S. bought approximately 828,000 square miles of territory from France for $15 million. Florida, 1819, acquired from Spain via the Adams-Onis Treaty. John Adams was a part of that. While not a direct cash payment for land, but the U.S. agreed to assume $5 million in legal claims against Spain. Gadsden Purchase. The U.S. paid Mexico $10 million for a strip of land that is now part of southern Arizona and New Mexico. Alaska. We all talked about Alaska. They paid $7.2 million in 1867 from Russia. The Philippines. Following the Spanish-American War, the U.S. paid Spain $20 million for Archipelago. So I guess it's part of the Philippines. And then the U.S. Virgin Islands, people forget about that. 1917, purchased from Denmark, who owns Greenland, $25 million in gold to prevent German control during World War II.
Oh, there you go, yeah.
I mean, and then if you go a little bit further, you got the ones that didn't work out, which Greenland, in 1867, Secretary of State William Stewart explored buying both Greenland and Iceland. And in 1946, President Harry Truman made a formal offer to Greenland, to Denmark, for Greenland at $100 million in gold. And they rejected it. And he pushed it even more. And Congress was saying it might be a good idea because it's strategic and everything. That was right after the World War II. It was strategic and everything for our military to be there,
right?
And nobody says anything about that. And that's Harry Truman. Everybody loved Harry Truman. And then Donald Trump tried to do it in 19, and then now in 2024, and it hasn't worked yet, but he's trying.
Well, yeah, and there have been other bids to buy Greenland before, and they made an offer, and they said no, and then that was it. But see, that's not going to happen with Trump.
No,
he's going to make an offer.
He's going to make an
offer.
offer.
He's going to say no, and he's going to say not good enough. And
right.
We're going to keep coming back and forth and back and forth.
He's not going to invade. He's not going to send troops in. There's 57,000 people there. Most of them are descendants. I looked into this a little bit of China, Mongolia, and all that area. I mean, that's all. They're like Eskimos in a way.
Yeah.
That's what they are. I mean, I understand they have their land and peace, but they're not happy with Denmark. Denmark is spending all their money on Denmark. They're not really
helping
Greenland at all. All that money, because it's a very socialist country, all that money is going to their socialist views over there, such as health care and this, that, and the other thing. And because I don't know that the kid, what's the kid that did the interview up in Minnesota? That
Shirley.
Yeah. He did
Nick
Shirley. He went to Nuuk, the capital, and he interviewed people. And I would say about 75% didn't want to become part of America.
Okay.
There was 25 or 30% that said, it wouldn't probably be a bad idea. We'd probably, come out of it a little bit better, be taken care of a little bit better. Taxes would be better, and this, that, and the other thing.
And they'd be part of NATO, which they are now anyway. Yeah. And it is a strategic location to help
Oh,
protect.
it is, no doubt about it, because
help
China
protect
wants
us.
it.
I know.
China does
There's
want.
there's a reason they
There's
want it. That's
there's
right.
minerals there. There's oil there.
Yeah.
And it's close to the United States. They can bomb from there. We got Space Force there up in the left-hand corner in the western part of the country. And that's the other thing, the dome, this big dome that Trump wants to do.
Yeah.
He already promised Canada that they would be covered.
Right. So
And
he wants to
he
cover
wants
it.
to cover in Greenland too.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
But this goes back all the way back to the British.
Yes,
Britain.
it does.
It was
Yeah.
would be a direct attack to the east coast of the United States without Greenland being there to help intercept, and that's what they're thinking now. I mean, but with Trump, everything's a national security threat. Whatever it is. If I don't get that Coke, it's a national security threat. So we're going to see what happens with that. I mean, but there's been other bids, and they tried before, and you read me some of the quotes, and they said no, but now he's really trying hard.
Yep.
But I just don't believe in the fact, whether he does it or not, he shouldn't threaten tariffs. I mean,
I know what you mean. He made all these deals with these countries with trade and everything like that.
which ended up working out because people made fun of it and they were busting him about it anyway, and it all worked out in the long run. Now nobody's saying anything about that.
There's got to be something behind it. You got to know that his people behind him, Lutnick and the other guy, Bassett or whatever, and Rubio, they got some kind of thing up their sleeve.
Well, look at Venezuela.
Yeah.
Well, what was there? Oil.
Well,
Exxon was in there.
It
all
was
these people.
probably realistically 30-40% of the drugs. The rest was oil.
Yeah.
I mean, we did put those.
You said they were
refineries there.
They were not bombing any boats recently, huh?
They're not.
Wonder why?
Because Maduro's gone. He's not. He's got to be going broke.
Yeah.
Whoever the cartels there, they got to be going broke because then nothing was coming in.
Yeah.
As far as money, it all went down to the Atlantic or the Caribbean.
Yeah, really. Well, so lots of diplomatic meeting. I guess J.D. Vance stepped in. Marco Rubio is part of this. And some of the Danish, Greenlandic foreign ministers.
Yeah, high-level talks occurred in Washington mid-January between U.S. officials and J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio and Danish Greenlandic foreign ministers. They all had a meeting, I guess, at the White House.
They said it was a bipartisan
yes,
congressional delegation, yeah.
Yeah.
So they visited Denmark to reassure leaders that most Americans oppose the acquisition. So we're telling them that most of the Americans here oppose it.
Right. That doesn't matter to Trump. If he sees it, that's going to be a benefit to the country.
Right.
Whether it's now or next year, or he could be looking at 10 years from now, 15 years from now, if we have it. And then people are going to look back at him and say, he was right.
With technology and military buildup and all this stuff going on.
The Iron Dome that he wants to put, the dome and all that. Isn't that amazing? That was something that Reagan talked about way back then.
It was called Star Wars.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep, and now he brought this whole out with Space Force and everything.
God forbid you should use Star Wars. That was great.
Yeah.
All right, now it's an Iron Dome.
Iron Dome.
Was it literally like a big iron? There won't be no sun to come in?
I don't know.
You know what it is? It's Missile Command, the old game. There were bases down at the bottom, and missiles were coming in. You have to shoot the missiles out of the sky. That's essentially what it is.
Well, that's what Israel's got.
Patriot missiles coming down.
Israel does. That's why Israel doesn't get bombed as much as like the other countries do.
Right.
Like when Iran launches a missile into Israel, they have that dome that we put there for them.
Right. Takes it out before the
And then when Gaza was doing it, the Palestinians, the dome was protecting them from their missiles.
So there's another thing we got to think about. See what happens with Greenland. I don't sleep much anymore with all this crap going on. I'll tell you what's good not to hear about, though, anymore. Epstein's gone.
Epstein. Yeah, the Epstein thing.
Epstein gone.
They're going to hold on to that. Now, let me just say something real quick about that. You don't hear that much about it anymore. But don't you think if they thought that Donald Trump was really involved with something with Epstein, don't you think Biden would have brought it up when he was president and he was ready to run for president and then hand it off to Kamala Harris and say, listen, we got some dope on President Trump?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
They didn't say anything about it. But now he's in. Oh, let's see if we can find something.
They found nothing.
Found nothing is right.
And I'll tell you, of all the bad things they say about Trump, when they call him a pedophile, that is really low. Really low.
Oh, that is.
The
What did
guy's
you
a
s-
father. A
What did you say that
grandfather.
you saw about Melania?
There was a poster about Melania's
New movie that's
new movie
coming out.
coming out.
Coming out January 30th.
I don't know what city it was in, but it's behind glass, like one of those bus stations.
Yeah, with
glass
the right.
advertisement.
Yeah.
And there was a guy that was cleaning it off, just a regular guy, cleaning off graffiti that said, because it's Melania now, it says, my husband is a child, my husband F's children. Now, how sick is that?
Yeah.
Come on. You really got to be, to even think that. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of nutsos out there that are pedophiles, so to speak, but you can't.
No, you can't say that.
Can't say that.
So ridiculous.
Out of control.
Wonder why we're so divided.
Yeah.
I mean, shit like that.
Yeah. So here's a guy that cleaned it off because he was so upset
Yeah.
about that. So, I want to talk about. Well, here's our little
Right.
yesterday's news.
Yesterday's
headlines. Whatever you call a stupid segment. I don't know what it's called.
No. Yesterday headlines.
That's it.
That's
Yeah. And this is just stuff that's not really in the news, but really big right now. Nobody's talking about. So we like to be a little different and talk about stupid stuff, other stuff. So as you know, AI is big, right? Coming around, AI everything. AI in your phone. There's AI. It is.
Yeah.
I'm really sick and tired of the AI.
And evidently, some of this, like GPT or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
There's now a couple different ones you could do.
Yeah.
use, right?
Yeah. There's Chat GPT. There's one called Claude.
Claude.
There's one called.
Is it Gemini now? Is that another?
Gemini's another one. Yeah, that's. I think Gemini is part of YouTube
Google.
now.
Yeah,
The
YouTube and Google. Yeah.
and Google stuff. So the pushback is these infrastructure. These people are going to build these giant AI buildings to develop AI and do all this, and the problem is the electricity. Now, for those of you who don't know, when you mine Bitcoin, now Bitcoin mining was big earlier in the days, and people had garages full of computers with lots of these graphic cards, and it would help solve computer problems. And when you help solve a problem, and what would happen is all these computers together would work together like a massive computer to figure out these things that are just impossible to figure out. If your computer became part of that, you got a piece of Bitcoin. So that's Bitcoin mining is what it's called. Now, China is the biggest Bitcoin miner in the world.
Heard of that? Jeez.
You can actually, it comes on your computer. It's digital, right? So so now mining isn't such a big deal now because it's harder to mine. There's less of them and it's tough. But China was one of the biggest Bitcoin miners in the world. They literally had buildings just filled with these computers, and they would get lots of Bitcoins. They were making money, But the reason China was one of the biggest ones is electricity in China is one of the cheapest in the world. Because the electricity it takes to mine a Bitcoin is ridiculous. If I were to get a machine big enough to mine pieces of Bitcoin, I'd use more electricity than I'm making in Bitcoin. That's how much power these things use. So going back to AI, what everybody's concerned about is these infrastructure buildings are going to use so much electric, they're going to take it away from or out of the grid. And our grid can't handle these data centers that they're popping up. And people are pushing back. Some of these 20 data centers I want to put up are worth $98 billion. They're all delayed or blocked by local oppositions. And more, the disruption since 2023. So they're trying to stop these things. Over $64 billion in projects have faced blocks and delays. Yeah, because of this. So now, the idea here is with some of these projects that they're putting together, they want them to support their own electric. So whether they do solar or they do wind, they need to generate their own electricity and not grab it from the grid because there's just not enough electric to go around. Electricity costs and the grid, the strain on the grid because we just don't have it.
Right.
And I remember I've seen in Landman where, Billy Bob Thornton says, and it was factual, that if everybody went electric and everything was electric, we don't have the grid just to transport the electricity to these people. So this is why there's been a lot of pushbacks on this, and this is a big industry that's coming, right? I mean, they're building all these data centers, but they use so much electricity that if they don't have their own, they're pushing back to stop this from happening. So this was part of Trump's big deal that, hey, look at this industry's coming to U.S. and they're going to put all this money in there.
A lot of people are scared of it.
Well, first of all, let me tell you something. I'm going to say something. Maybe YouTube's listening out there because you are listening, because that's what Gemini does. It listens to every word we say. There were 2 or 3 AI videos that somebody made saying that Billy Bob Thornton is not coming back to season 3 on Landman because they wrote him out of the skit and they got kind of his voice in there. But you could tell it was all fake. It was all AI. And if anybody watched the final season finale, close your ears if you don't want to hear the season finale. But he came right back. I mean, yeah, season 2, they kind of had him fired, and they had this, and they were focused on the wife and the daughter and this other stuff. And then people made these fake AI videos that he's not coming back for season 3. He signed a 5-season contract.
Right.
He will be back. And at the end of the grand finale of season 2, he's back 100%.
Right.
And I won't tell you why, but he's back.
Right.
So that's what's scary about AI. Now, I love pets. And I saw a video today that kind of was heartbreaking. It was one of these shaggy dogs, and some kid poured motor oil over the dog for no freaking reason. And the guy saw what was happening and grabbed the dog, and then, was taking him to the vet and made him feel better and clean him. It was all AI. I found out after I watched it.
Well,
it's all fake.
It's funny you said that because yesterday we were watching YouTube and there was a video on there. My wife really likes Bruno Mars. And she goes, click on that Bruno Mars short. Basically, it was a short. And it was Bruno Mars and Lady Gaga in a video. And you could say it wasn't them. It wasn't them at all.
Oh, really?
But it looked like they were actually doing a video and that. But it wasn't them. It was all AI. And my wife says, yeah, they really look funny. I said, because it's AI. That's why.
They did do a song together.
Well, this one, I don't know what it was.
Video is probably not real.
Oh, it was horrible.
So Microsoft announced that Community First AI infrastructure plan in 2026. They're going to cover their own electricity costs to reduce water use, prioritize, because you need water to cool these computers. My computer upstairs is water cooled. So you need fresh water, and so they want to produce, Microsoft says they're going to do their own electricity, use less water, and prioritize local benefits for the people. Trump administration stance is strongly pro-AI. We know Trump is pro-AI. For national security. There it is again. Everything's national security. If you don't flush that toilet right, national security, it's a problem. So he's expediting permits for these buildings, for these data centers, moving environmental rules. Trump stated tech companies must pay their own way to avoid burdening the Americans while emphasizing U.S. and AI leadership. So we want to stay the leaders in AI for sure, but these data centers are going to have to produce their own electric. In the meantime, they're getting blocked, and they're not going anywhere until they figure it out. So that's our news that's not in the headlines. But AI is crazy. It is unbelievable. I use it to put together some of this stuff.
Right.
I want to ask a question. Here's to give you an example. If you do a Google search on Google, not on Grok, I guess it's called Grok, Grok. You do a Google search for whatever. You do that same search on Grok or Gemini or whatever, it uses 10 times the electricity.
Wow.
Because it goes out to these computers, banks, and all these computers start working using electricity.
Oh, wow.
People don't think about that. It's not your computer that's using the electric. It's the question that you send out there. And that's part of what cryptocurrency is about, too. They integrate all this stuff together digitally.
Right.
But when you create an AI video, it's using all these massive computers to make that video. And to make them look so real now, it's crazy. So, but you got to think about that. And my electric bill, I know my electric bill's going up.
Yeah, mine too. Well, it's going up because it's so damn cold.
Yeah, well, that too, yeah. Of course.
Hey, just came over the wire. Trump rips justices over handling of women's sports trans athletes case. So evidently, they were looking at this, the Supreme Court.
Yeah, they threw it back to the states, I heard.
Well, it doesn't say anything here. It just doesn't say that. It just says Trump calls out Supreme Court justices after trans athlete hearing. Should lose a lot of credibility. That's all it says.
Yeah, I think what they did was instead of making a decision, they threw it back to the states. So
it's not okay. All right, so it's not going to be a full blown federal thing.
Right.
Each state's got to make up their own rules.
And guess what's going to happen?
Oh, I could see it. Yep.
Right? The states are going to say, "Oh, sure." You know.
Yeah, well, mainly the blue states.
Yeah.
Illinois,
Jersey.
California, Oregon. Oh, yep.
Yep. It's going to continue. And I'll tell you, I was just, it's funny, Sunday, a guy I used to work with at ADT, he was local. He lives out somewhere in Williamsport, but he was local. He was in Whitehall. His daughter plays soccer. And she's a little girl, 12, I don't even know, 10, 11, 12. All girls on the team. Now, in that age, yeah, guys aren't real big and strong, but if you had a boy there, some 10-year-old boys are pretty big.
Yeah.
And playing on a girls' team, I don't think that'll happen. And this guy, the guy I know, he's as big as his freaking house. He's a big dude. But, yeah, we can't have that. And Riley Gaines, I'm sure she's all over it now again.
Yep.
Because, I mean, come on, people. It's just common sense. Jesus, I forget this DEI. What was
DEI?
DEI Tuesday. That was Jesse Waters.
Oh.
DEI Thursday, he goes. It's DEI Thursday, and he shows. So let's hope that doesn't happen. But, these states got to wake up. And you said it last week. When the states go against the government, that's how civil wars start.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Alrighty.
That's it.
That's it.
That's all I got.
For episode 58, right? 58?
Yeah. Yep. Stay tuned. They rolled out the Artemis rocket. Last thing here. They rolled out Artemis rocket. It's 4 miles from the building station to the launch pad. And it took 12 hours. How's that for speed?
Yeah.
So that's on the pad, ready to go. February 6th, you say?
Yeah, the 6th. Yeah.
First window of opportunity to loop out around the moon and come back, and we'll see what happens. So, all test flight.
Cool.
All right, guys. This is 58.
Very good.
Very good. And I want to thank everybody again. Please like and subscribe. It is so important.
Yep.
I should have said it in the beginning of the video, too, because I know some people don't last to the end, but what we're getting is we're getting a lot of support, and we want to keep it going. So, and again, Sabrina, thank you very much. Michael, thank you again.
Yeah,
getting those videos
Mike.
up for us.
Yep.
We appreciate it. I'm Joe.
And I'm Bill. We'll see you.
Have a good
See you
night.
next week. Bye-bye.
See ya.